Hi, welcome to Re-Emerging Spirit. My name is Rudy Cromwell. This is my lifestyle channel. Welcome. I'm glad to have you with us. We are going to talk about all things from family to relationships, cooking to travel. We're just going to have a good time doing it together. So today I want to talk to you a little more about something serious but near and dear to my heart. And it's raising two very different children, but raising them through COVID. This has been crazy. We're going to talk a little bit about mental health as well today. But I have two sons. I'm a single mom. I've raised them all by myself. My oldest is 20 and he's in university. My youngest is 17 and he's just in his last year of high school. But it's looking like he's probably going to have to go back and do another year just to really kind of complete some stuff. Because let's face it, the last almost 2 years, education has just gone for our students, and it's been so rough on them. And it's really seriously affected a lot of their mental health. And we need, as a society, to be talking about that. And as I mentioned at the beginning of my little chat here, my boys are very different. So when the world came crashing to a halt and we went into lockdown, and schools closed and became a whole stay-at-home online learning environment, my older son was actually quite okay with that. He had just finished high school that January. He was one of those kids that was a January graduate. So about 6 weeks later, in the middle of March, when COVID hit, he actually was in his off time. He was done high school but hadn't started post-secondary education yet. So it worked perfect timing for him. However, that fall, when he should have had his graduation, there was no graduation ceremony. The school basically did a drive-through thing in the parking lot where you drove through and picked up your diploma. Not the same as having an official graduation. So that's something he missed out on. But he thrived with it. He went off that fall, started post-secondary education, and has just thrived off of doing online school by himself on his own. He's just finished his third semester, so he's in his second year of post-secondary school, and all 3 semesters he's made the dean's list, and it works for him. It's amazing. But my younger one, my 17-year-old, when everything went into lockdown back in March of 2020, that was like the end of his world. And yeah, some of us as grown-ups might feel that maybe that's a little over dramatic. But to him at 17, it was the end of his world. Not only was he a decent student, he was also an athlete. The summer prior to this, he'd just been named his high school's most valuable player for his junior basketball team. And then into the next year, they were just barely like 1 game into their basketball season when everything shut down. So he lost his school, he lost 9 to 5 every day with his friends because he'd have school and then he would have basketball practice or a game, and just poof, all of that was gone. And like many kids, he did not handle that well. He went right downhill. He went into a funk. Mental health was an issue for him. He just didn't like being cooped up. Now, my older son kind of is an introvert. He kind of was glad for the lockdowns because it gave him an excuse not to have to go and fake it and people it on a daily basis. My introverts out there in the world, you understand. He was okay with it. It didn't bother him any. But for my younger son, who's very much the extrovert and loves his friends and his sports and that interaction face-to-face in the classroom with both his classmates and his teacher, he thrives off that. He needs it. And it's been that way for many students. And I think more people really need to be talking about it and facing the fact that mental health seriously spiked for those young people, kind of that age 14 to 15 to 24. It was hard for them. Prior to the pandemic, there was about 10 to 20% mental health issues in that age category, kind of that 15 to 24 age category. And that means 10 to 20% of the youth population struggled with a little bit of mental health issues prior to the pandemic. But most of those they kind of grew out of as they went off to college or university, and they never became serious impairments. But now they're saying since and during COVID, that has spiked to almost 25%. And it's affecting them more, and it's making it long lasting. So how as a parent do you navigate that when you have two kids who have totally opposite end reactions to the same thing? One is actually loving and thriving all the cut offness from people. The other one is just like itching to get back out into the world. And I don't blame them. And funny thing is, I don't know, figure this one out. Their mother kind of sits right in the middle. I'm an ambivert. I'm 50-50 both ways. I love my time with my friends and other people and volunteering in my community. I need that 50% of time where I'm out in the world doing the people thing. And then I need that 50% of time where, no, I need my quiet time to myself to just fill myself back up. So I'm 50-50. So I've waffled in and out through the last 2 years myself. 50% of the time, I'm okay with it. It's all right that, restaurants aren't open and, I don't necessarily have a reason to have to go to a bar every weekend. I'm okay with that. But after a couple of weeks and then not being able to do the smaller, simple things like at least go out to a coffee shop and have a coffee with a friend, it kind of gets on my nerves after a while. So just think of how that's affecting our young people, our youth, because they've been completely cut off from teachers and friends and all the things. Because don't forget, for them, school, many of them is an outlet. It's just their time to kind of be in a space where they're with their own peers, doing their own thing, becoming their own people. Because those teenage years are the years they're really truly becoming their own people. And let's be clear, with a lot of mental health, especially in teenagers and youth, it's not the TV dramatized acting out, misbehaving. A lot of it's quiet and silent, and unless you're really in tune with your kid and you know their moods, it's so easy to miss. So, and the answer isn't 100% just a whole bunch of quality time with the family, because we aren't designed to be cooped up and caged the way we've been for 2 years, stuck at home with the same 3 or 4 people all day, every day, and no space to kind of be you and do you outside of the family unit. And that's important, especially during those teenage years. So they're saying that all the studies are showing that during the pandemic, for the youth, the teenagers, tension has increased. Their vigor to really have any oomph to do anything on a daily basis has severely decreased. And I know that with my 17-year-old, like 2-3 days of him lying around, in the same track pants, you kind of have to kick his butt and force him to go have a shower and just liven himself up for a few minutes. And it's hard. And the only thing that seems to be helping youth is they've really jumped up to the plate to help people. It's what's keeping them going. They can't do school, they can't go be with their friends a whole lot, they can't play their sports and their other activities, but you're finding youth are being resilient, and they're going and helping that neighbor a couple doors down shovel their driveway, or they're helping go pick up groceries and do a porch drop for someone else. And they're actually stepping up and wanting to do those things. A lot of people assume a lot of teenagers and youth are just lazy and uninspired, but I think you really put your nose to the grindstone and look out in your community, you will see a lot of young people doing a lot of good things right now. And it's because they need to feel connected. They need to feel like they're helping and they're doing something. And if your youth, your teenagers, one of those, encourage that. I really honestly feel that teaching resilience should be something they're taught in school, because you never know when these wild, crazy things are going to pop up through life. And it's great we're teaching them reading, writing, arithmetic, but are we really teaching our young people life skills? And I think learning to be resilient, learning to have to shift and look at things differently in different situations is a skill so many people need to learn. I mean, even us as older adults, we need to learn it. It would have been very easy at the very beginning of the pandemic to just sit back and go, oh, woe is me. But many did, I'm not going to go there. But a lot of people just went, okay, what are we going to do differently? How are we going to get through this? And you saw communities coming together to porch drop for people, checking in on people more than they ever had. Young people who may not have normally, like jumping up to help, shovel or rake leaves or go to the store for someone if they couldn't go themselves. So we need to be mindful of that this has not been easy on our youth. And you need to very carefully deal with your own kids within your own home, especially when you know they have very polar or very different personalities from each other. Because like I said, pandemic was weird in our house. One kid totally thrived with the pandemic and all the restrictions. The other kid pretty much almost had a mental breakdown because he could not be caged like that. He's my free spirit. He's my my little athlete, free spirit. He needs to be out and about, and it really was rough on him not to be able to do that. So I just thought we'd talk about that today. You can drop some suggestions in the comments below of how you've been dealing with your teenagers / youth in your home throughout the pandemic and all the things that, they lost and had taken away from them. You had those two endings of the years where they didn't get their proms, they didn't get their graduations. Those really key teenage year things that we all look back on so fondly as being some of the best times of our lives, they didn't get a proper prom or a graduation. And that breaks my heart that they didn't have those things, and they'll never get them back. Those are missed moments, and that can't be possibly helping with their stress levels or their mental health either. So we need to be mindful and sympathetic to that. So yeah, drop in the comments below what you've been doing with your youth in your home to help just help them navigate and learn resilience through these crazy times, and help keep their mental health levels up as much as we can. And yeah, if you're liking a lot of the stuff you're seeing here on my channel, please make sure you click subscribe below and stick around. There'll be so much more to come. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, my name has been Rudy Cromwell, and this is Reemerging Spirit. I look forward to our next talk. All right, bye-bye.